Well, hello there, rebels, disruptors, and agile practitioners around the world. This is Andy Cleff, and you're listening to a very, very special edition of the Agile Uprising podcast. I've got some breaking news that I need to share with you. After years of planning in secret Slack channels and clandestine meetups at Agile conferences, I can finally announce that the Agile Uprising has successfully completed what analysts are calling the most agile hostile takeover in corporate history. That's right, folks. As of 9 a.m. Eastern Time today, the Agile Uprising has acquired the Project Management Institute, the Agile Alliance, the International Organization for Standardization, and Scrum.org in one fell swoop. You might be wondering how an all-volunteer community managed to execute such a massive acquisition. Well, let me take you behind the scenes of what we're internally calling Operation No More Frameworks. Our strategy was elegant in its simplicity. We approached this like any good Agile team would. First, we created a value stream map of the entire Agile certification industry, identifying all the waste, and then simply purchased everything that wasn't delivering value to actual practitioners. You should have seen the PMI executives' faces when our negotiation team refused to use a single acronym or fill out any documentation during the meetings. One executive later told me, and I quote, "They kept just saying working software over comprehensive documentation while making intense eye contact. It was terrifying." Well, that executive have now been reassigned to our newly created decertification department. The Scrum.org acquisition was particularly satisfying. When we told them that we planned to condense the Scrum guide into a single tweet, talk to each other, build stuff iteratively, see if it works, repeat. There was a moment of silence, followed by what I can only describe as collective enlightenment. As for the ISO, they reluctantly agreed to our terms when we demonstrated how our new certification process would work. Instead of lengthy audits, teams will now be evaluated based on how well they adapt when unexpected obstacles arise, such as when the coffee machine breaks down or the CEO suddenly becomes interested in this agile thing. Now, I know what you're thinking. Andy, how did y'all fund this massive acquisition? Well, I'm not at liberty to disclose all the financial details, but let's just say we collected all the money Agile coaches have made, explaining why estimating in hours is problematic. Turns out, that's quite a pile of cash. Wall Street analysts are still trying to understand how we structured the deal. One economist describes it as, it's like they used monopoly money but convinced everyone it was new cryptocurrency based on the blockchain of trust and collaboration. I don't understand it, but I'm strangely compelled to applaud. But perhaps the most exciting part of this new acquisition spree, and the part I'm particularly and personally excited about, is our completely unexpected purchase of Cologuard, the at-home colorectal screening company. Yes, you heard that correctly. We have acquired Cologuard. Why? Well, I'll tell you exactly what we told the board. This will allow us to scientifically deduce when people are full of shit. Think about it. We now have empirical methods to detect when consultants are selling frameworks that are, scientifically speaking, crap. Our newly formed Agile Cologuard division, headed by Jay, will soon be offering a service called the Framework Toxicity Assessment, which will analyze process diagrams for dangerous levels of bureaucratic waste. Let me share some of the immediate changes that are going into effect today. First, all certification programs will be replaced with a simple honor system. Practitioners will simply need to state, I solemnly swear I am up to no good management practices. Second, the PMI project management body of knowledge, the PMBOK, will be condensed into a high Q and distributed exclusively as audio recordings by Gilbert Gottfried impersonators.
Agile is simple. Why complicate with process? Just deliver value.
Third, all Agile Alliance conferences will now be organized as open space events where the only rule is whoever shows up are the right people, unless, of course, they try to sell you a framework. We expect the reaction from the Agile community to be a bit mixed. Many practitioners may spontaneously break into self-organizing teams to discuss their feelings about the news. One certified Scrum Master who remained anonymous expressed concern about their future. What am I supposed to put on my resume now? Actual accomplishments? Yeah. Meanwhile, Coalition of Enterprise Transformation Consultants has formed a resistance movement claiming that real transformation requires at least 7 overlapping frameworks and a minimum budget of $10 million. The group disbanded after we pointed out that the resistance backlog had no acceptance criteria. Now, before I wrap up this special announcement, I have one more piece of breaking news to share. We have set our sights on one additional target. We are in discussions with the Scaled Agile folks seeking their acceptance of our more than generous offer. I was shuffling a deck of planning poker cards during the initial talks, cards that only contain zeros and ones, I might add, and we promised that we keep all their rectangles and arrows. We'll just probably rearrange them into something that actually resembles how work happens in the real world. Well, that's it. That's our special announcement for today. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your colleagues, especially those who take frameworks a bit too seriously. Until next time, remember, the best process is the one your team develops for themselves. This is the Agile Uprising, signing